Great. Thank you for joining our first oral presentation session of the day. We have 3 excellent social sciences students presenting this morning, and 2 of them are asynchronous recordings. So I will introduce them and hit play or pass the mic, and then at the end we'll have time for questions. Our first presenters are Haley McCool, Haley Real, A Case for Steel and Thunder, Relationship Sliding versus Deciding Favor Transgression. Our second presenter is Emily Perkins, who will be here in person, Review of a Sexuality Education Video. And our third presenters are Haley Real and Haley McCool. Did you catch that? Okay. And that presentation is Stop Churning Relationships by Avoiding the Relationship Slide. So I'm going to play the recording and then we'll get started.
Oh no. What a great error to have happened.
Hello, my name is Hannah McCool. I am a senior in the Women's Science department. I also have a minor in writing, and this is my poster presentation on stealing thunder in romantic relationships with emerging adults. So to kind of start off, emerging adults is defined as people between the ages of 18 and 25. They're going through a lot of life transitions at this time period. They're finishing high school, they're getting their first jobs, so on and so forth. So they're already going through a lot, if you think about it. There are also these terms called sliding and deciding. Sliding is basically this scale of feeling trapped in a relationship for whatever reason you may feel trapped, while deciding is you love this person and you're going to be with them no matter what. And stealing thunder is basically when if something happens, let's say I do something to my friend and someone else knows about it, I'm gonna try to go to my friend first and be like, hey, I did this, I'm really sorry, please forgive me, in an attempt to lessen the blood later. Because, you know, it would come out a lot worse if I hadn't admitted to it myself. So people are more likely to forgive me for coming to. Let me zoom in on my background. Ooh, right there. Right, so we also looked at technology, specifically dating apps like Tinder, and how they provide an opportunity for stealing thunder because 17.1% of undergraduate students between these ages have used Tinder in the past in relationships of whatever kind. Some college students may not perceive their current relationship as a long-term thing, which is not surprising. They're getting into college, it's their first time, most likely they've experienced freedom on their own. So not everyone's looking for the long run. And then some college students avoid breaking up due to the fear of being alone because these transitions can be a lonely period of time. So when you do find something that works, you know, it can be hard to let it go. The discovery of a romantic partner using Tinder may not necessarily lead to the relationship ending. But, you know, that's because everybody responds to different things differently. Creating a scenario to examine stealing thunder in a romantic relationship was difficult because, like I said, transgressions and responses to the transgression will look different for everybody. It is very subjective in those terms. So now we're going to slide over to our methods. And I'm going to try to zoom out a little. So we get fit. Okay. All right. So in order to test the stealing thunder phenomena, we developed a project survey. All participants received the same introduction, which was basically you and your partner at this gathering, your partner and your friends get on this topic of dating and what is not cheating, what is cheating, and your partner flat out says being on a dating app while in a relationship is cheating. So after the discussion or introduction, participants are given one of the three scenarios from the background, which were the introduction, which was the control variable, stealing thunder, which is the reveal from the partner, or reveal, which is the reveal by a third party. We then used ANOVA to determine stealing thunder's impact in relationships. Our outcome variables were likability, integrity of the partner, and stealing thunder, or relationship satisfaction. Likability was a composite score of statements using words such as good, bad, like, and dislike, which asked partners to indicate how they felt towards the romantic partner based on the scenario they were given. Integrity was done in the same manner to gauge if participants found their partner to be someone of integrity, did they find them trustworthy? The statements consisted of things such as honesty, sincereness, transparentness, and credibility. And then relationship satisfaction was determined by asking partner participants what was likely to stay in this romantic relationship after whatever scenario they were given. So now we're gonna roll down to the results. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. There we go. Alright, so we ended up surveying 60 college students over the age of 18. 58 of the participants identified as female, while 2 identified as male. We also asked about their current relationship status at the time of taking the survey. 37 were in committed relationships, 7 were casual monogamous relationships, 3 were open relationships, and 15 were undefined relationships, while the 13 remaining didn't specify what kind of relationship they were in. We're gonna slide over to my NOVA table so that y'all can see it. After completing the ANOVA, we found that there are significant differences for likability measure, integrity measure, and relationship satisfaction measure. But this was based on each of the scenarios given. So with that said, we're gonna scroll up to the discussion. So emerging adults are more likely to experience relationship churning, which is the cycle of breaking up and getting back together. I like to think about it as ways we turn over and talk to each other. And this is basically, I love you if you hurt me, so I'm leaving, but I love you, so I'm coming back. This is basically just that. And emerging adults are very likely to experience it. They also are more likely to slide into and stay in unhealthy relationships for whatever reason. Emerging adults may stay in these relationships because of maybe a dangerous partner, maybe the partner is abusive, maybe they are physically abusive, mentally abusive, whatever kind of abuse. Maybe use hostility as a source of power to keep themselves above their partner. They may use the financial statuses against them, or maybe the person just feels like they can't leave because of their financial status. Maybe it's also a social status thing, maybe the partner is threatening to get them like socially excluded, or that some sort of psychological barrier keeping them in this harmful relationship. Sometimes even pregnancy can lead to this. They feel trapped because where else will they go? Who will help them with the baby? Things of that nature. While stability, commitment, intimacy, and overall attractiveness have changed the way people evaluate romantic partners, there are some things that will get in the way of that sort of reflection and evaluation. And those are fear of being alone, the availability of romantic partners, and the level of commitment in these romantic relationships. We're also going to scroll down to the implications. So it can be difficult to determine stealing thunder in emerging adults in college because they may not be ready for a committed relationship. Like I said earlier, this is the first time they're most likely experiencing freedom. So there isn't a whole lot of relationships to look at just because of the fact that, you know, this is the first time they got to experience it. Not everyone wants to dive straight into a long-term relationship. Future stealing thunder research should include factors such as perceived loneliness, financial dependency, and relationship turning, to see how stealing better impacts these romantic relationships. The outcomes of the study can be used in so many ways, and this could be to help practitioners and relationship educators to further their programs. It could help young couples better understand what goes on, better initiate communication in the relationship, trust in the relationship, how to maintain a healthy relationship. It also helps them, understand why breakups happen or how to not necessarily get over them, but to work through them. And also, especially in the digital world, this is a very much different time than it used to be. A lot of people now are dating online, and there's not a whole lot of necessarily like help when you go through something like that. So understanding how stealing vendor works in that scenario could also help young people get through things like that, especially in a digital world context. It can also emphasize the risks associated with relationship turning and just romantic relationships in general. But yes, this is my presentation of my poster. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all around. Thank you so much.
Do you speak now, or do you go on stage together with me?
I do have a link in one of my slides.
Okay. Do you want me to click on it for you?
Like, do you need to pull it up beforehand, or
We can do that. Which one's it on?
it's on the background slide?
Okay. Let's try that again. No? Okay. Right, whenever you're ready, Emily.
Hey guys, my name is Emily Perkins, and my project is a review of a sexuality education video. So a little bit about me before we get started. I'm a senior and I'm a double major in psychology and family science. And one of the reasons that I decided to do this project was upon viewing the video for the first time in the human sexuality class, I kind of realized that it needed to be updated, which we'll get into that a little bit more later in the presentation. But also in that class, I realized like how scared or ashamed people are to ask questions on the topic of sexuality education. And I'm hoping through doing more things like this, we can normalize these kinds of conversations just because it is an essential part of everyone's health. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is a CFLE. So a CFLE, or a Certified Family Life Educator, focuses on healthy individual and family functioning, and with a primarily educational and preventative approach. CFLEs have about 10 different content areas that they can work in, but I'm just going to name a few, which include human growth and development across the lifespan, human sexuality, family law and public policies, and professional ethics and practice. Family life education is a collaborative in the sense that we work with our audience as well as agencies and programs to meet the needs of the intended audience. So, needs. In order for us to create or update a program for our audience, we need to look at exactly what they need. This is broken down into about 3 different categories. So there are felt needs, which is self-identified from your own experiences. Ascribed needs, which is when someone outside of the learner identifies a need. So think of, for example, a judge mandating a parenting class to parents. That would be considered an ascribed need.
And then there's also future needs which are identified by educators and come from more of a preventative approach relating to future problems that learners might run into. So this project is really just intended to update the video in the human sexuality class and enhance the STI portion of the class. Our most immediate concern with the original content is updating the video. Whenever this video was created, it was just intended to be a really quick supplement to the course. There were no considerations of accessibility or special considerations related to human sexuality. So, for example, like how some women are more susceptible to STIs compared to men, or the topic of how this relates to queer sexuality, because queer students and individuals are often left out of sexuality education research. So whenever it comes to sex ed, a lot of queer students tune out because it's not really technically intended for them. And then the broader concern of this project is overall just promoting safer sex practices and reducing the stigmatization around conversations related to sexuality education. And then just a little bit of background about the video. It was originally made in the early 2000s and it was just designed to be a quick introduction to the top 3 bacterial and viral STIs for the sexuality education program. And then this is just a little bit of the video.
HPV frequently risk of the change in cervical cell, the early sign of possible cervical cancer. The pathogen detects early warning signs. Hepatitis B attacks the liver and sometimes causes death. It is the most contagious virus and is found in serum, semen, vaginal secretions, and saliva. Contact with even small amounts of infected blood can cause infection. Immunization is available for hepatitis C with a series of 3 shots over a period of months. People with deficiency virus or HIV. It is the most dreaded STD. A person who is HIV positive can be symptom-free for an average of 10 years. During this time of relative health, the virus can still be passed to another person. The virus can be transmitted via blood, semen, vaginal secretions, and others.
So that is going to bring us to our next slide, which is CFLE considerations. And these were just different things that I found were positive about the video and negative. So like what I did like is that the video was short and to the point and medically accurate. And it did separate the 3 most common viral and bacterial STIs, but there are a lot of issues with it, like inconsistent messaging on prevention. There's no updated information on treatments, and throughout the video, not in the clip that I showed you guys, just because I didn't know what I was going to be attending. There's a lot of shock values with worst case scenario STIs, and that's not really necessary in this day and age. People just need to know what to look for whenever symptoms start to present. And then some of the visual aspects are juvenile, like cootie bugs, those are all throughout the video. And there's also the issue of lack of accessibility, like there's no closed captions or anything like that, and overall information adjustments to update it. And it also didn't take into account that there are new contraceptives and preventative methods that have come out since this video has been created. And then audience concerns, as far as will the audience think the video is too heteronormative, because again, there is no special consideration in the content for queer sexuality. So some students may just not pay attention to it. It's not really geared towards them. And we also really need to know exactly what our audience wants to know. So before we go to the next slide, these were all different things that I considered. But essentially what students are going to be doing is watching the full video. It's about 8 minutes. And after this, they're going to take a survey so that we can record their reactions to the information and allow the students to give feedback on things that they liked and disliked, information they felt like should have been included. really a bunch of different aspects. And then all of that information is going to be taken and eventually used to update the video. And so basically this is going to act as a needs assessment for students. Next thing is participants. There's going to be between 50 and 100 participants. The students are going to be 18 years and older, and they're all going to be recruited from the family science and psychology department. There doesn't need to be any prerequisite knowledge as far as, like, you know how with some surveys, if you've taken a class, it'll ask you that, and then you get booted out of the survey or something along the lines of that. That's not the case with this survey. And all of these students are going to be recruited through SONA or Qualtrics, and anyone under 18 will be screened out, and the survey will also be completely anonymous. So no one's information is going to be shared, no one's going to know if they're former classmates that are all taking the survey, completely anonymous. And then for my survey, I developed these questions using what I learned in the human sexuality course, a visual aspects article, and then my textbook from program planning, and a medical article relating to accessibility. There are 10 questions relating directly to sexuality education and STIs, 3 questions on accessibility and visual aspects, and then 4 demographic questions and 3 questions. And these are the sources used, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Haley Real. I'm a student here at the W. I'm currently a senior in the family science major, and I will also have a minor in legal studies. So today I want to talk to you about some research that I did last year regarding sliding into young love, which is basically talking about the sliding technique into toxic relationships among college students. So you're probably asking, what is sliding versus sliding? Well, sliding is slipping into a relationship or situation due to financial or emotional dependency, or from the convenience that the relationship or situation provides. Deciding is definitely self-explanatory. It's just deciding to be in a committed relationship because you want to be in that relationship. So what are some things that can influence sliding and deciding into a relationship? So early childhood experiences can influence sliding or deciding. Attachment styles have been used to predict adult romantic relationships. Research has found continuity of attachment patterns across the lifespan. Trust and confidence in a relationship can also influence whether and how individuals manage their relationships. Frequency and severity of relationship conflict and power in a relationship can be barriers for any relationships. Emerging adults may be vulnerable by sliding and staying in risky relationships. These can be considered dangerous partners, abuse or hostility, and financial, social, and psychological barriers. Abuse or hostility can be defined as emotional, physical, or sexual abuse of any kind. Dangerous partners are just any type of partner that is threatening to cause harm to their other partner. And financial is where you're living with someone and you are wholly financially dependent on that person. You feel as if, if you leave that relationship, you'll end up homeless, or you'll have to move back in with your parents, which is a situation you don't want to get yourself into if you don't have a good relationship with your family. Social and psychological barriers consist of I've been with this person so long, I don't know how I'll get into another relationship, is there anybody else out there for me? And just feeling like you're not worth, like your self-worth is not high enough to where you could go out there and be in a relationship with someone else. So couples who decide rather than slide into their relationships are much more likely to report happier relationships. In the method section, we will be talking about a workshop that was conducted last, fall, the fall of 2023. A relationship education workshop was hosted for undergraduate college students at Southeastern University. The objective of the program was to define sliding versus deciding, list characteristics of healthy relationships, provide examples of how to cultivate a healthy relationship. The lesson plan was adapted from the Love Notes curriculum. The curriculum is a relationship education program that teaches adolescents and young adults how to build healthy romantic relationships. It is designed to build skills for cultivating healthy relationships, relationships with yourself, and healthy sexual behaviors. It consists of 13 one-hour lessons on decision-making, communication, and sexual and overall safety. Using feedback from 2 lessons on healthy communication conducted in the spring of 2023, the fall session adopted the Love Notes lesson plan on personality and communication styles to include sliding versus deciding based on communication styles, how to build trust and intimacy, and understanding financial dependency among college students. Participants for the workshop were recruited through campus flyers and social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Instructors were also asked to offer extra credit, and all participants could enter a raffle for a gift. The 50-minute program was formatted so participants could attend in person or via Zoom. A online survey was also given pre and post workshop through a Qualtrics survey to collect responses. Questions focused on evaluating participant satisfaction with the program, the content and acquisition of knowledge of how sliding and deciding can be influenced by communication styles. Next, we will look at the results of the workshop. So, a total of 13 participants attended the workshop. Most self-identified as white females. Only 1 participant did not self-identify as gender binary, and 1 self-identified as black. The average age of participants was 24 years old. Most participants felt that the workshop met their needs and their knowledge of the topic increased. All participants agreed or strongly agreed that the activities were connected to the material presented. Participants reported higher levels of awareness in recognizing relationship choices and consequences after the workshop than before, their relationship decision-making abilities after the workshop than before, managing their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to meet relationship goals after the workshop than before, being able to have difficult conversations in their relationship after the workshop than before, and their ability to recognize healthy relationships after the workshop than before. The participants also believed the program was valuable and they would recommend it to their peers, as we will see in Table 1. Table 1 is also a summary of participant responses. So we did see a high volume of, a high percentage of students that agreed with the program, that they were extremely satisfied, that they felt that the program met their needs, and that they would strongly recommend the workshop to another peer. The needs assessment completed in the spring of 2023 supported previous research where emerging adults in college often slide into relationships due to financial issues, which is cohabitation with a romantic partner that lessens the financial burden, fear of rejection from their partner if they define their relationship as committed, lack of time and energy for a relationship when their focus is on academics and completing their college education. The Love Notes curriculum is effective in helping adolescents and young adults form meaningful romantic relationships. Results from the study confirm that adapting the lesson plan does not lessen the impact of the curriculum, as participants noted increased levels of awareness regarding relationship communication and self-regulation when experiencing conflict. Participants felt more comfortable knowing there were resources available on campus when navigating difficult conversations in their relationships. Some resources that I would suggest personally are the healthcare center on campus or the counseling center that we also have on campus. I'm sure that they would be welcome to help any students if they were going through difficult situations like the ones that we have discussed today. Participants had a better understanding of how their ability to regulate emotions can impact the message during difficult conversations. Some implications of this study. The outcomes of the study can be can be used to enhance campus services to include romantic couples for in-person and virtual sessions. Campus administrations need to be aware of the relationship between sliding and siding and romantic relationships and academic success as students may abandon their studies due to relationship conflict or unplanned milestones such as pregnancy. College students need support in how to navigate romantic relationship formation, maintenance, and dissolution, as they may want a long-term romantic relationship, but they may not be ready to commit. Some may stay in dangerous or unhealthy relationships for financial reasons or for fear of being alone. This was my, siding versus deciding in Youngblood poster. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for your time.
We'll now open for questions. If you have questions for either Haley McCool, or Haley Real, you can use the conference website to post comments or questions on. They're not here, so they can't answer them in person. But if you have questions for Emily, you can type them in the chat if you're virtual, or raise your hand and I'll bring you the mic.
First of all, this was a very good presentation in terms of, I'm very excited about what we're doing and what we're looking forward to evaluating the needs assessment. It goes along with kind of what I teach in nursing. We have a class, identity versus role confusion, and part of that is looking at sex education and that kind of thing. With your slide, you mentioned the certified family life educator. Is that something that you're working towards in your degree?
Yeah, after I graduate.
Okay. So with that, that's something that the W office was, I want to give them.
Yes, we do.
Really?
We do, and we are about ready to find out, we just went through our reaccreditation, we're gonna be a 20-year program, and we're the second oldest in the state.
Oh, wow, okay.
And what happens is, the way Infinite Varsity MUW works is students can take our courses, and because they, as they say, they are, quality and trained, they can bypass the national standardized exam for CFLE, if they maintain a B- average in their 4 courses, and if they do it within a certain length of time.
Wow.
They can become provisional, and then with 2,500 hours of contact hours, they can become fully certified.
Oh, wow. And possibly interested in coming to speak with nursing, yes.
Maybe, yeah, she's graduating in August, so.
Okay, so coming up, so when you mentioned your survey that you're thinking about doing, this hasn't been implemented yet, right?
No, it'll be out. Yeah, it is, I was hoping it would be, but basically this can be used for future students to, because we want to look at communications on the piece about the video, because we're not video people, we don't understand that piece. But we can do, we want to do the rest, and like, she's helping some of the groundwork.
Right.
Anybody wants to.
I love it. I want to get involved with whatever's coming up next. Want to put a plug out there. Then the other question that I had was, this will be done with students here on campus, right? And then looking, like you were saying, maybe outreach further and beyond possible.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to do with this video, because the way it was originally designed is supposed to be part of my human sexuality class. It wasn't designed by me. It was a national program we implemented when I was in grad school at the University of New Mexico. And I was like the sex educator counselor person when I was a PhD student. And it was designed to be implemented as part of a national program, somebody at our campus designed. And it's just a teeny piece of like quick and dirty. Here's the top 3 viral or bacterial STIs, which by the way haven't changed in the past 20 years. And it's just quick and dirty, and then we have a further discussion and activities, business, things like that in class. But it's, as she said, it's very dated.
Yes.
All kind of other fun.
Well, I thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I just want to put a plug out there that if y'all need some help with it.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I'll reach out to you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Emily?
Sort of a general question, you were mentioning that the treatments were dated. So in the video, is that right?
Not necessarily, the treatments, but more so like
There was no consideration for possible new treatments in the future. It was very much cut and dry. This is what we have, this is what we get. Whenever that's not the case, because there are new treatments and preventative methods that come out all the time.
And particularly with HIV, that is very dated in terms of the available treatments for that type of infection, and so certainly, yeah.
That was one of the bigger issues that I have with it.
And I guess really my question was, how do you keep the video updated as you go forward? If, you know, this wasn't updated in 25 years, how do you, is there a way to like put information into the video as time goes on?
I think really what we're doing right now as far as creating a survey for students to take immediately after watching it, that way we can see what students actually need. And, you know, as the years go on, we find out new research about all of this as well. So the more research that we find and the more feedback we get from students, the more we can do the video.
And what else? You had a great idea. Do you remember your idea? Share it with me. What you were gonna do with the video? You were gonna put what with it?
Oh, I'm gonna do a survey after the new video as well to see if we're meeting students' needs after their initial feedback.
And what else?
I can't remember.
And add resources.
Oh,
That was your idea.
yeah, I have created an entire resource page for students that'll be put out eventually, and it's all online resources for students to explore on their own. So like there's access to free or low cost STI panels, pet prep. There are sections about just sexuality and pleasure in general, because that's not really talked about in sexuality education, even though it is a big part of it. I really just tried to create, like a resource page that covered every aspect of sexuality education.
This video would be available to anybody that's what it's.
That's what we're hoping, and like make it more general, because like I said, it's quick and dirty. It's designed to be part of a broader education. But it's not, it's gonna have more stuff in it. It might not just be 8 minutes, it might be a little bit longer, but we're still trying to keep it quick and dirty because people lose attention after like 10 minutes or something. Right. But yeah, that's what we're hoping. It's not just gonna be for our sexuality class. We were hoping to make it available across campus.
Other questions?
Great job, Emily. I wondered if you thought about asking anything about your sample's previous experience in sex ed. I know I lived in Texas and Mississippi growing up, and I found out that my friends here got a much different experience growing up in that ed. So I was wondering if you had any questions about that. I thought it might influence your samples, maybe shocked at the video, or maybe felt like it was all that.
So I did actually include some questions in my survey about whether or not any of the students have had any kind of sexuality education before, whether or not that's just the class we have on campus or in high school. I left it as an open-ended question just so that they weren't limited by like a multiple choice thing, just to see, you know, what education students do have. Because just in my own experience, when talking to my peers, most of them had not had a comprehensive sexuality education program until being sexuality. So.
Yeah.
And do you think that it plays a part with Mississippi being an absence or absence-only education system in schools and high schools?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like that's a pretty big issue because in abstinence-only states, as far as their sex ed programs for high school, there are typically higher rates of teen pregnancy or just, you know, things like that versus states that have comprehensive sexuality education programs. They typically have lower rates of teen pregnancy and transmission rates as well.
Any other questions for Emily? Or you can even say comments about the Haleys out loud if they see the recording, they'll hear them. Okay, if not, can we give our presenters one more round of applause? Thank you, and we will, pause our presenting until 1 o'clock. Please fill out a survey. We have a survey here, if you wanna fill it out in print. We have a QR code on the back of the program, if you wanna fill out your experience that way. If you are evaluating this session, please come find me with your in-person evaluations or email them to me, as soon as you can with your virtual ones. Thanks again.
That was great. You were literally, I didn't even tell you were. Yes.
And then it's another part.
Don't even touch it.
And then post frames, think about it and they judging this one, but I don't know. To be part about. That's not bad. Yeah, hey, you think that so? Yeah. Well, hopefully,